All right, now let me go back to the line and talk to the journalist who dealt with the story. So the story was broken by Prince Kwame Tamaklo, who is a journalist with Rainbow Radio in Tamale. Prince, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Morning, Bernard.
Great. So we saw the 3 videos, and I personally have not read your write-up on this, but what were you trying to do with this story? How long have you been following the story? And basically, what were you trying to do?
Okay, so Bernard, thank you very much. In January, I started a project on the state of sanitation facilities in some selected senior high schools in the northern region, specifically their toilet facilities in the northern region, where earlier I got reports of infections, especially among female students in some of the senior high schools, and they were attributing that to the bad state of their toilet facilities. So I selected 4 schools: Tamale Senior High School, Ghana Senior High School, GhanaSCO, Northern School of Business, Nobi School, and then Tamale Technical Institute. I mean, the second cycle school of the Tamale Technical University. So I started that. I actually gathered a lot of information on how bad the situation was. However, when we go to GhanaSCO, what made it peculiar is that they had a new toilet that wasn't being used. I asked why. They said for the lack of water, they couldn't use that facility. Fine. The only toilet that they were using mostly was one that both the community people in Kuku were using together with the students, which even the headmaster confirmed that. I'll come there. So there was serious open defecation in the school there, a very serious one. So I was like, how will you have toilets and then still be practicing open defecation? There, I visited some of their toilet facilities, especially at the Gbara House. The Gbara House has the downstairs. It has a toilet facility there that people of years back, if I say years back, I cannot tell because the students we spoke to told me they met it when they came. And these are final year students. So I assume 2 or 3 years back were using. So they came when the facility was not being utilized. Therefore, the place was converted or was turned into a dormitory for students. Not knowing who did the conversion, then they had to speak to the headmaster. I'll come there too. The students, after taking the video or seeing the whole situation, then I asked them, is it a practice of, maybe you just wanted to have to spend a day there or want to spend maybe your night over there just once? And they said, no, they have been sleeping here. For what reason? They mentioned that for lack of space at the dormitories. The videos or the video that came out first showing the toilet that was converted to a sleeping place or a dormitory for the students was just a teaser, or better still, a trailer for the main documentary that will be released tomorrow. So the narration or the genesis of the story was that we are looking at the state of toilet facilities in the school, how adequate they are, and then when we go to GhanaSCO, they were inadequate. And as much as they were inadequate, they could still turn the facility they have to dormitories. For what reason? Then they told us that for lack of space in the dormitory.
All right. So in terms of the toilets that was not being used, does your full documentary have that? Because you're saying they have toilets that are not being used because of lack of water. And then there's also the issue of a building that was originally supposed to be a toilet that is now being inhabited. And those are 2 separate buildings, right? So my point is the toilet facility that has been built but does not have water and therefore is not in use, Did you go there to verify that in the full report that you are going to air tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Great.
I have, yes.
You have the video. Good. So now let's come to this facility that is in the trailer, which the headmaster says was never a toilet. According to the headmaster, this facility that you went to film has been there since the 60s, and in their time, it was the box room, and it still is a box room, adjacent to the prefect's dormitory downstairs, and is not a place where students sleep. According to him, it's a place where things are kept, and therefore nobody can sleep there. And he actually says you colluded or connived with the student to stage this thing to look like students were sleeping there, but that building that you filmed was just adjacent to the ground floor dormitory of the prefects, which the student in crutches also happens to use because he can't climb up. What is your response to that?
It's unfortunate and it's funny to hear the headmaster say it was staged. If it was staged, then the mattresses I found at the corridor, probably I should arrange one each in the cubicles of the toilet. I mean the channels. Each of them should contain that, beautifully arranged. I went there during the day and then picked these shots. I wouldn't have taken videos of some of the channels or some of the cubicles having mattresses and others not having. Some having chop boxes, some not having. I schooled in the north here. I schooled at Tamale Senior High School. And I know how things are run here, especially within our senior high schools. I suffered similar situation in 2006. And when the documentary is released, you really get a better understanding of it. There was no way I could stage that and ask a person living with disability speak to the issue. I wouldn't stage that and allow a school prefect to, whereas the house prefect, speak to a staged story. What do I stand to gain? The reason for releasing this particular excerpt as the main investigation, as the trailer for the documentary, is that last year we gathered reports of about 5 people who died in the Savannah region, or I think Damango, over what we call the CSM. And we know CSM is caused by heat, according to the health people. So what's going to happen is that if I look at this to happen, and out of heat, which we in the north, we are confronted with, students contract CSM and die out of that. As a journalist who has this story or who is aware of this, what have I done to these innocent children? 2, if the toilet was built, whether still using it or they were using it in times past, how was it built? Is that the manhole is under? If the manhole is under, if there's any day of collapse or crack when the students are sleeping, what will happen? How will I feel that, oh, I saw this and then I never made it happen? I never let the public know about it. So bringing this out, I don't know when they close its usage, perfect. But then I can tell you on authority that if it is a place for keeping stuff as he was, the headmaster is claiming, then what I know is that where we keep our chop boxes, it isn't only one chop box that you find. It isn't only 1 gallon you will find. At least if it's a place that you keep the students, if it's a storeroom, we shouldn't find just one, because it's not just one student or 2 that are in that particular dormitory. And so if he's calling it a staged story, it's just funny. All right. Then I went to him to find out if he's aware of the situation. He says to the best of his knowledge, he is not aware of anything like that. Then I even asked him in the video, or yes, and then the audio, when I was having an interview with him in his office, I asked him, should I show you the evidence? Then he said yes. So what he just took over office, he's not even a year in the office. So maybe I could give him the benefit of the doubt when he was responding that way. But for him to actually say that it's just funny to hear that.
So you are saying that you went to the headmaster's office, you interviewed him on the record, and then you showed him this trailer of the particular space?
I asked if I should show him the evidence. Then he responded yes. However, I did not show it because at that time, yes, part of the video has the students speaking to me, and I couldn't have done that. So if you look at officially what we put out there on our media house had the faces of the children covered. So I didn't do that because.
So how come this video that we have has the student's face clearly? In this trailer.
Okay, so that was what something I can describe as an error of a sort from the editor, who, after we aired the trailer in our news bulletin, asked for the video, and instead of cutting what we aired for the MP, rather gave the raw video to the MP. So I'm very sure that from the MP side that they picked the raw videos from. But what came from our media house? And unfortunately, that particular video was released before my knowledge, because that video is supposed to be part of the main documentary. Where the children were confirming it wasn't part of the trailer. The trailer was just the 29-30 seconds video of the.
All right. So just to give some clarity on everything, in this particular documentary, apart from the student we see and the headmaster that you have spoken to, did you speak to any other person to corroborate the view that there is open defecation, that the students are sleeping in less than standard facilities, and that this situation is occasioned by some level of accommodation crisis? Who else did you speak to?
My target or the story wasn't looking at accommodation. So I didn't, my line of questioning, I wasn't looking at accommodation. I was looking at the toilet facilities. So I spoke with the Tamale Metro, that is the director of hygiene. Then the schools in the Sanarugu, we also spoke to the Sanarugu Municipal Health Hygiene Director. So the various neighborhoods within the greater Tamale area, yes, I spoke with them on the situation.
But in the school, you spoke to only the student and the headmaster?
Yes, Ben.
I see. So now that GS has suspended the headmaster and say they are going to investigate, have you been contacted by the GES to provide any evidence as part of the investigation?
I've not been contacted, but since the trailer was released, I had 2 calls from the headmaster condemning me, saying a whole lot of stuff, and that is part of the work, calling me names and all that. Then after that, it's just the usual threats and all that, I mean, which I'm actually used to. So this is not my first investigation anyway. I released one on GhanaSCO, the state of their dormitory, 3 days to their 70th anniversary. Then the question was, how will you go celebrate your son's birthday, spend 20,000 cedis when you owe school fees of 2,000 cedis? So I released that story. On our sourcing of the TTH lab in 2015, I did that. So this is actually not new. So with the threat and the cause and everything, I know it's part of this job. That is what I've taken to do. So these are the only people who have contacted me, those issuing the threats. The headmaster, who also called me twice on Friday or Thursday when the trailer was released. And some students too will contact you and then issue threats. But for GS, they haven't contacted me yet.
So just as a point of interest, you were looking at the situation of toilet facilities and the hygiene of students. Did somebody from GhanaSCO invite you in to do this because of something that was happening, or you just happened to choose one of GhanaSCO because it's a big school in the north?
So I chose GhanaSCO because it's a big school in the north. I know they have population, and if there's anything going to happen like that, it could be one of the schools that its students will be suffering this problem. So I went there.
The headmaster also says that they have 2 new houses that are not even being used, and that they have the largest accommodation, largest facilities in the northern region in GhanaSCO. So he's shocked that students can be made to sleep in such a place when they have 2 uninhabited houses. Did you perchance see those uninhabited houses?
That is untrue. The place where these toilets, the students were sleeping, is 1-story building, where the upstairs is 1 house, the downstairs is 1 house, and the rooms there are 14. That is 7 up, 7 down. So if you have excess, then I want to find out why you decide to combine. Because GhanaSCO, where I went, if it is Nkrumah House, upstairs, downstairs, Nkrumah House. If it's Hayfront House, upstairs, downstairs, it's Hayfront House. You will see. So if you have that in excess, why didn't they move the students there at the time of carrying? Or why didn't you even mention that when he was interviewed?
All right. Finally, did the students confirm to you that they were doing open defecation? Yes,
please.
And the place where the open defecation is occurring, is it close to their dorm or to the dining hall? Which particular bush is this?
I don't know the distance between Citi FM and Citi TV, but I can tell you that it is less than 50 meters.
Because headmaster said there's no bush near the dining hall.
Okay, so yes, then I didn't hear that word. Not closer to the dining hall.
It's closer to the dorm. Okay.
Yes, dormitory.
Okay, close to the dorm. Fair enough.
Dormitory, yes.
I see. All right.
Interestingly, the students usually don't eat at the dormitory, at the dining hall. Most of them decide to carry, or some of them decide to carry their food to the dormitory.
Okay.
One of the days we visited the school, we had students coming from their evening dining, holding their food to the dormitory.
So the point the guy made about eating with flies and scent was eating in the dormitory, not in the dining hall.
Yes, please.
Okay, so that corrects it, because then that was my mistake. I thought I heard him say they were eating in the dining hall. So thank you. So from all indications, you stand by every detail of your story, including the choice of people to interview and the conclusion that students sleep in that makeshift facility, which the headmaster denies. You stand by every bit of the story.
Yes, Bernard, I do.
Wonderful. Thank you for your work, Prince Kwame Tamaklo, reporter, Rainbow Radio in Tamale. 18 minutes past 9. I'll just take closing comments and then I'll move to malaria. Sky, this is serious. So the headmaster is completely on a different trajectory from the journalist. And then Mr. Park as well. Mm-hmm. He's saying he wants to see what the investigation will come to. He's spoken to the headmaster. So, and he's there on the basis of being a parliamentarian of that. So this is going to go down to the wire. Yeah.